Sean Vincent Gillis.
That name might not mean anything to you. And yet, in the late 1990s, on the quiet streets of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it made walls tremble. He was just a regular guy, an ordinary computer technician, a loyal partner, a quiet neighbor. But behind that calm appearance hid a horrifying secret. For 10 years, he hunted, he stalked, and he murdered women, chosen at random, attacked with unspeakable violence. And then, back home, in the silence of his house, he carried out rituals, twisted, disturbing rituals. He took photos of his victims. He mutilated their bodies. He kept souvenirs. Why? Why would a man who seemed so normal sink into such darkness? How did he escape the police for so long? Today we return to one of the most chilling cases in Louisiana's criminal history. This is the story of Sean Vincent Gillis, a remorseless killer, an invisible predator, one of the most twisted America has ever seen. Listener discretion is advised. Some content may be disturbing and not suitable for younger audiences. The story begins on June 24, 1962. We're in a small city in the American South, crushed under the weight of the summer heat. More precisely, we're in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Inside a small local clinic, a child is born. Tiny, fragile, just a baby, like so many others. His mother, Yvonne, holds him close. His father, Norman Gillis, is not there. In fact, he never really will be. Sean Vincent Gillis is born into a world already broken. Norman Gillis is unstable, unpredictable, a World War II veteran, haunted by psychological trauma, sometimes violent, often lost in his own mind. Not long after Sean's birth, he leaves. He disappears. No goodbye. No explanation. Nothing. Yvonne, now alone, clings to her only son like a lifeline. She works hard. She does her best. But behind her motherly love, there's a shadow, a suffocating grip. My son doesn't need anyone. I am and will always be there for him. She overprotects him, imposes her pace, controls his every move. She becomes both mother and father, the only parent he's ever known. And Yvonne walks a tightrope, trying to balance affection and authority. But Sean, suffocated by this unbalanced life, starts to pull away. He retreats into himself. For Sean, the outside world becomes blurry, hostile, a place with rules he doesn't learn to understand. At school, Sean is quiet, withdrawn, almost invisible. He speaks little, avoids eye contact. He has no friends. Sean? Oh, he was always off by himself. We almost forgot he was there, an old classmate would later say. He doesn't have close friends, doesn't play football, doesn't run around the playground like the other boys. What he likes are solitary games, puzzles, books. But something's off. A strange obsession begins to surface. He was once caught crushing insects, not just for fun. He watched them die for a long time, completely still. Sean seemed to take pleasure in watching pain in a way that made people uncomfortable. As he grows older, his inner world starts to shift, and early signs of unease begin to appear. He spends hours shut away in his room, completely absorbed in dark, moody comic books. He's drawn to stories about loss, revenge, and pain. As a teenager, he discovers adult content, which might seem typical at first, but the material he seeks out is different from what others his age are curious about. He's fascinated by scenes where control is one-sided, where women appear powerless or distressed. He seems more interested in discomfort than connection. His view of others, especially women, starts to become distorted. I remember he'd say strange things about Girl, a classmate would later recall, like he didn't really see them as people. Time moves on, and his relationship with his mother grows even heavier. She never lets go. Sean grows up without any male role models, without real friendships, without genuine emotional connection. His only reference is his ever-present mother, always close, always in control, who convinces him that the outside world has nothing to offer. But the outside world is still there, and one day he's going to step into it on his own terms. What no one knows yet is that something is beginning to take shape. A youthful mistake? Just a bit of recklessness, you might say. But wait until you hear what comes next. A few months later, Sean is arrested again. This time it's for driving under the influence. Inside the car, police find a small bag of marijuana. Nothing major, but something about the scene feels off. Sean doesn't react like most teenagers caught in the act. No fear, no nerves, nothing. "You're throwing your life away, kid." Sean looks at the officer, a faint smirk on his lips. As if it doesn't matter, as if nothing matters. He pays the fine, avoids jail. Once again, he slips through. But the justice system keeps his name on file. Not that Sean cares. Rules mean nothing to him. Authority? He's never had any respect for it. A few months later, he's arrested again. This time for contempt of court. He missed a summons, didn't even bother to show up. He treats the law the same way he treats everything else, with indifference, even mockery. A bold, reckless young man, and every time he walks away with just a slap on the wrist. He was just a petty troublemaker, people would later say. No one could imagine what was growing inside him. Up until now, Sean Vincent Gillis is simply another delinquent, a young man with no real ambition, breaking rules without serious consequences, still searching for his place in the world. But deep inside, a different storm is brewing. One day, breaking the rules won't be enough. He'll crave more: control, power, possession. Everything will start to spiral because a new urge is taking over him, an urge he can no longer suppress. Sean Vincent Gillis is about to step into a far darker world, and this time, there will be no turning back. March 1994. Baton Rouge sleeps under a blanket of darkness. The city is still, peaceful. But Sean Vincent Gillis isn't sleeping. He's sitting alone in his car, parked on an empty lot. Staring into the night, his hand clenched tightly around the steering wheel. Why am I feeling this? He's suffocating. His life feels like a failure. No friends, no purpose, no reason to exist. But tonight, an idea grips him. An idea that's been haunting his mind for months. An urge, a pressure he can no longer resist. Tonight, he's ready to cross a line. And tonight, someone's life will end. This is when he heads toward one of Baton Rouge's upscale neighborhoods, to a luxurious retirement residence, standing silent in the night. St. James Place. That's where he will choose his first target. Inside one of the homes, an elderly woman is sleeping peacefully. Ann Bryan, 82 years old. She's alone, fragile, defenseless. The perfect victim, and Sean Vincent Gillis knows it. He waits hidden in the shadows, his eyes fixed on her window. His heart is racing. He has never crossed this line before, but tonight he wants to know what it feels like. Quietly, he slips inside. Step by step, he moves past an armchair, keeping to the walls. The bedroom is bathed in a soft, reassuring darkness. On the bed, Ann Bryan breathes deeply, peacefully. She has no idea a predator is standing just a few feet away, watching. She can't stop me. The tension rises inside him. He leans closer, extends a hand, and brushes her frail arm. Ann Bryan wakes up. Startled, she opens her eyes and screams. And that changes everything. A sharp, piercing scream. Sean, still inexperienced, panics. This wasn't supposed to happen. She wasn't supposed to scream. Adrenaline floods his body. His mind blanks out. He reacts without thinking. He has to silence her. In a sudden, frenzied motion, he attacks. Again and again, until finally the room falls silent. He steps back, breathing heavily. It's over. He stands there staring at what he's done, almost hypnotized. The air is heavy. The metallic scent of blood fills the room. His heart is hammering in his chest. For the first time, he feels fear. Real fear. He flees. Rushing out into the night, hands shaking, clothes stained. He runs to his car, starts the engine, and speeds away. Inside the car, the thrill collapses into a wave of dizziness, nausea. What have I done? He glances at himself in the rearview mirror, and what he sees frightens him. He knows it. He has crossed a line that he can never come back from. The next morning, a nurse opens the door to room 107. She screams in horror. Anne Bryan is there, unrecognizable. The police rush to the scene, sirens piercing the early light, but it's too late. The killer is already far away. And this is only the beginning. No one would ever truly understand what happened to Anne Bryan. 15 years. 15 years have passed since he took her life. Since then, Sean Vincent Gillis has struck again, several times. And each time, his actions grew darker, more twisted. By the beginning of 1999, he was no longer just a criminal. He had become a predator, a nocturnal hunter, searching for flesh and control. That night, it would be Catherine Ann Hall, 29 years old, who would cross his path. Past midnight, Baton Rouge sleeps under a moonless sky. Catherine walks alone down the sidewalk, heading home after a night out with friends. She's not worried. She's seen that car before. An old Chevrolet that often drives through the neighborhood. Inside, Sean Vincent Gillis watches her. How long has he been following her? 10 minutes? 20? It doesn't matter. The moment has come. Sean slows down, rolls down his window. Need a lift? Catherine hesitates. The man seems odd, but not dangerous. You sure? It's cold tonight. She shrugs. Why not? He seems friendly enough. She gets into the car. The door shuts. And in that instant, her fate is sealed. At first, nothing unusual. The car rolls forward slowly. Silence settles. Then suddenly, a metallic sound. Catherine turns her head, but it's already too late. A wire slips around her neck. Her eyes widen in shock. She struggles, grabbing at his hands, clawing at his skin, but Sean tightens his grip. She gasps for air. Her body stiffens, then goes limp. The car fills with silence once more. Sean finally lets go of the wire. He gazes at her face, still, peaceful. She looks beautiful like this. He gently strokes her cheek. His heartbeat slows. But the night isn't over. He drives to an isolated road hidden among trees. He stops the car, opens the door, and lays Catherine's body down on the cold grass. In the darkness, he surrenders to his darkest impulses. He treats her like an object, an empty shell. He leaves his marks behind, possessive, controlling. No one to stop him, no one to hear. Hours later, he is done. He abandons her body there, discarded like garbage. He gets back into his car, drives away without a care. No panic, no regret. He has done exactly what he wanted. The next morning, a driver spots the body, Catherine Ann Hall, 29 years old. Strangled, marked, violated. The police arrive. The crime scene speaks for itself. They know right away. This is no ordinary killer. This man takes his time. He savors what he does. But what they don't yet realize is that the monster is far from finished. Now it's May 1999. The sun beats down on Baton Rouge, drenching the city in heavy, humid heat. It's 5:30 in the morning. While the city still sleeps, Sean Vincent Gillis is already on the hunt, cruising in his old white Chevy Cavalier. His hands grip the steering wheel tightly. His eyes scan the empty streets. She has to be here. She has to be here this morning. In the quiet streets of the southern part of the city, a slim figure cuts through the morning air. It's Hardy Schmidt, 52 years old. She runs with a steady pace, focused on her breathing. And then, he sees her. She doesn't know that someone is watching her. A gaze, fixed, insistent. A gaze that has been following her for 3 weeks. That gaze belongs to Sean Vincent Gillis. Yes, him again. Naturally, she doesn't suspect a thing. She doesn't even know who he is. Just a familiar face. Someone she's seen before. Ever since Sean first spotted her, he hasn't been able to stop thinking about her. He doesn't know her, but he knows one thing. He wants her, at any cost. Sean has watched her run this same route, again and again, on Quail Run Drive. Always at the same time, always alone. And this Sunday, May 30th, he decides, today is the day. Hardy Schmidt runs, just like every day. Her body moves to the steady rhythm of her steps. Sean slows down. His heart races. No one around. No one to witness. Now! It has to be now! A screech of tires. A dull thud. The impact sends Hardy flying forward, her body tumbling into a ditch, twisted by the force of the blow. She never saw it coming. Suddenly, silence. Just a faint gasp, a shallow breath. Hardy is still conscious. Through her blurred vision, she sees a figure approaching. Sean steps out of the car. He walks slowly toward the body, certain that she's already dead. Hardy tries to move, tries to escape, but she's dazed. She feels something cold against her neck. Plastic. Thick. Tough. And then an unbearable pressure. Strangulation. Her hands claw at the air, desperate to break free. But Sean tightens his grip. His eyes blank. Cold. Mechanical. No anger. No emotion. Only the pleasure of control. Hardy loses consciousness. But her nightmare is far from over. She awakens somewhere else. A deserted park near Highland Road. The ground is cold against her bare back. She realizes what's happening. She knows what's coming. But she can't stop it. She wishes she had died earlier, rather than endure this moment. Sean looms over her, his hand gliding over her skin, like a sculptor admiring his masterpiece. You're perfect. Her body no longer belongs to her. She wants to scream, but her voice is dead, just like her will. When Sean is finished, he stands up. He stares at her face, analyzing every tiny movement. Hardy is still breathing, so he tightens the plastic around her neck again. This time, he doesn't let go. He watches as the life slowly drains from her eyes until there's nothing left. Only a soulless body. Hardy, sadly, won't find peace just yet. Sean is not finished with her. He unleashes his full rage on her lifeless body, leaving behind a true scene of horror. Right after killing her, he lifts her up, carries her to the trunk of his car, slams it shut, and drives away as if nothing ever happened. 2 days. 2 full days driving around with a corpse in his Chevy Cavalier. Yes, 2 days during which Hardy Schmidt's body slowly decomposes in the suffocating Louisiana heat. Meanwhile, Sean goes on living his life. He watches TV, cooks himself nice little meals, does his grocery shopping. He eats like nothing happened, while his trophy rots quietly in the back of his car. But after 48 hours, he starts to smell it. The stench stings his nose. Finally, he decides it's time to get rid of it. That night, the sky is pitch black. Sean drives away from Baton Rouge, cruising down Highway 61, heading towards St. James Parish. Around him, the bayous stretch out, dark, silent, full of unseen creatures. He pulls over to the side of the road, opens the trunk. The smell hits him like a wall, but he feels nothing. He grabs the body by the arms, pulls with effort. Hardy's decomposing body tumbles into the murky water, disappearing beneath the dark reflections of the bayou. Sean climbs back into his car, wipes his hands, and drives off, still acting as if nothing had ever happened. The next morning, a fisherman spots something floating between the branches. He gets closer. His scream rips through the bayou, waking the sleeping nature around him. The police are called. Investigators rush to the scene. They find a body, naked, swollen with water, covered in marks of horror. They know they're dealing with a monster. But Sean Vincent Gillis is already gone. And he's already looking for his next victim. Because after all this horror, Sean didn't stop. These murders didn't satisfy his urges. Since Hardy Schmidt, his hunger for death has only grown. Now Sean Vincent doesn't kill out of necessity. He kills for pure pleasure. His crimes become more brutal, more twisted. Between 1999 and 2004, he leaves a trail of horror in his wake. 5 new victims, 5 women who, one day, crossed his path and never made it home. November 12th, 1999. Baton Rouge. Night is falling. Joyce Williams, 36 years old, walks briskly. It's cold. She has no idea someone has been following her for several minutes. A figure inside an old white Chevy Cavalier. A fixed, starving stare. Joyce turns into a dark alley. A fatal mistake. She hears a car engine, a door slamming shut. She doesn't even have time to scream. A powerful hand clamps over her mouth. An arm locks around her throat. She struggles, scratching, kicking, But Sean is stronger. With one brutal move, he slams her against the wall, crushing her under his weight. His fingers tighten around her neck, merciless. She gasps for air. Her legs give out. But Sean doesn't stop there. He brings the body back to his house. In the darkness of his home, he takes his time. He presses a knife against her cold skin, admiring the smoothness of her flesh. He mutilates. He photographs. He keeps souvenirs. 2 days later, he dumps the body near a creek, just like Hardy. Exactly the same modus operandi. A fisherman will eventually discover it. Sliced, defiled, broken. But again, the investigation leads nowhere. Sean remains a ghost. And later I'll explain to you why. But soon enough, he strikes again. January 2000. Still in Baton Rouge. This time it's Lillian Robinson, 52 years old, who falls into Sean Vincent's trap. She's homeless. She doesn't suspect anything when a car pulls up beside her. Need a place to sleep? A soft voice, almost kind. Lillian hesitates, then shrugs and gets in. She will never get out alive. The moment the door slams shut, she knows. Sean's eyes have changed. She tries to escape, but he closes his fist and strikes. Once, twice, 3 times. Lillian collapses. Sean takes his time. He strangles her slowly, savoring every second. Her body stiffens one last time, and then nothing. He keeps the corpse in his trunk for several days, then dumps it in a swamp, like trash. 10 months later. October 20th, 2000. A new victim for his twisted collection. That day, it's pouring rain. Marilyn Nevels, 38 years old, a solitary woman, walks the streets alone. She has no one who would worry if she disappeared. Perfect prey for Sean. That evening, she climbs into Sean Vincent Gillis's car, just like the others before her. She doesn't know. She doesn't see the predator sitting behind the wheel. He pretends he wants to help her, but the moment the door shuts, she's trapped. Marilyn doesn't even have time to react. The cable whips out, wraps around her neck. Sean tightens it. Tighter, tighter. She struggles, but he doesn't let go. When she finally stops moving, he leans in, brushes her face with his hand. He brings her home, takes his time, plays with her body, mutilates it for hours. Then he discards her, leaving her to rot in a ditch. Meanwhile, the police are moving heaven and earth to find the serial killer. And now it's October 9th, 2003. 3 years have passed. Johnny Mae Williams, 45 years old, disappears one October evening. Her body is found days later, beaten, strangled, mutilated. Another victim, another mystery for the police. February 26th, 2004. Sean Vincent picks up Donna Bennett Johnston. She's cautious, but she still gets into his car. She doesn't know it's a one-way ticket to hell. This time, Sean completely loses control. He beats her. He tortures her, while she's still alive. A scene straight out of the worst horror films. He slits her throat, watches her bleed out, takes pictures, and reaches the height of horror. He keeps pieces of her flesh. He thinks he's untouchable. March 2004, an unexpected breakthrough. A DNA analysis changes everything. Investigators finally link him to previous murders. The Baton Rouge monster now has a name, Sean Vincent Gillis. It's flashing across their screens, big and bold. Up to this point, 8 women had fallen victim. He stalked them, strangled them, violated them, mutilated them. He kept trophies, took macabre photos, stored memories. For 10 years, he evaded the police. Let's go back a few weeks. February 27, 2004. The torn body of Donna Bennett Johnston is found in a drainage canal near Ben Hur Road, just south of Louisiana State University. She had been raped, strangled with a nylon zip tie, mutilated after death, her left breast slashed, nipple cut off, a grotesque tattoo carved into her thigh, and her left arm severed at the elbow. Pure sadism. The monster was still out there, and the police were willing to do anything to catch him. That same day, Sean Vincent made a fatal mistake. Near the body, police found a tire track, a unique imprint, different from standard models. The Louisiana State Crime Lab got to work. They identified the brand, the model, and the specific type of tire. A model manufactured for only 3 years, with just 90 purchases recorded in the Baton Rouge area. 90 names, one of them, Sean Vincent Gillis. The investigators don't want to miss their shot. They need a biological match. They get a DNA sample from Gillis and compare it to biological traces found on several victims. The results come in, irrefutable. It's him. The monster finally has a name. Sean Vincent Gillis, identified as Baton Rouge's second serial killer. April 29, 2004. Late at night, a small, ordinary house in a quiet neighborhood of Baton Rouge. Inside, Sean Vincent Gillis is sitting at his computer. On the screen, photos of mutilated corpses. His trophies. It's exactly 2:35 a.m. Suddenly outside, the slam of a car door. Fast footsteps crunching on the gravel. Then, a violent bang against the front door. "Police, open up!" Silence slices through the night. Inside, Sean jumps. His heart explodes in his chest. No, not now. He runs toward the back door, but bam! The front door crashes open. Officers flood into the house, weapons drawn. Sean freezes. His eyes dart around, searching for an escape. An officer grabs his arm, slams him against the wall. "On the ground, now!" Sean doesn't even try to run. He knows it's over. They've got him. Handcuffs snap shut around his wrists. The agents haul him outside. Sean doesn't say a word. He even smiles slightly, almost as if he's relieved. And what happens next chills the investigators to the bone. True horror. Inside the house, they find the unthinkable. A computer loaded with 45 photos of Donna Bennett Johnston's corpse. Pictures of her body in the trunk of his car. Photos of other women too. And in a closet, pieces of human flesh, preserved. The stench is unbearable. Sean Vincent Gillis can no longer deny anything. He's trapped. Interrogation room. Facing the detectives, Sean Vincent Gillis stays silent, listens to the charges. Then he smiles. "You want to know why I did it?" The silence is heavy. The detectives stare at him. Stress. It just hit me all of a sudden. I needed to let it out. He starts recounting each murder one by one, with chilling precision, as if he were telling trivial anecdotes, as if he were proud. Of course, the interrogation doesn't last forever. Everything they need is already right there in front of them. They didn't even need his confession. Sean Vincent Gillis's trial opens in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in April 2008. 4 years after his arrest, Sean Vincent Gillis is finally put on trial. In the packed courtroom, the victims' families wait. The investigators, the journalists, everyone wants to see the monster fall. The room falls silent. The courtroom doors swing open. Sean Vincent Gillis enters, handcuffed. The killer faces justice. He walks slowly, escorted by 2 guards. His face blank, no smile, no glance at the families. He takes his place in the defendant's box. A heavy silence falls over the room. The court is now in session. Today we try Sean Vincent Gillis for the brutal murders of several women in Baton Rouge. A pause. The judge stares at Gillis. Does the defendant plead guilty or not guilty? Guilty, Your Honor. A ripple of shock runs through the courtroom. Families of the victims freeze. Some break into tears. He doesn't deny anything. He doesn't even try to defend himself. But what chills everyone is the total absence of emotion in his voice. The trial begins. The prosecution lays out the horror. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the man standing before you is not just a killer. The prosecutor pauses, lays out a series of photos on the table. Pictures of mutilated victims. He is a predator, a monster who stalked, tortured, and dismembered 8 women. A shiver runs through the jurors. In the room, some look away. Others, in tears, stare straight ahead. Sean Vincent Gillis didn't just kill. He desecrated these bodies. He kept pieces of flesh. He took photos. He relived his crimes again and again. They project an image found on Gillis's computer. On the screen, Donna Bennett Johnston, mutilated, lying in the trunk of his car. A gasp of disgust spreads through the audience. Then they play a recording. The voice of Sean Vincent Gillis during his interrogation. His confessions chilling. I like to take my time. I like to watch them die. Then come the testimonies. Jennifer Williams, sister of Joyce Williams, steps up to the stand. My sister never hurt anyone. She had dreams, a life. And this man destroyed her, like you would crush a fly. She turns to Gillis. Her eyes burn with pain and rage. Look at me! Look at me! Sean Vincent Gillis doesn't lift his head. Scenes like this repeat themselves. At no point does Sean show regret. Not even an attempt. After 3 weeks of trial, the moment has come. The jurors return with their verdict. Everyone rises. A deafening silence. The judge speaks. Sean Vincent Gillis, you are found guilty of murder with aggravating circumstances. A collective heartbeat. Then the words fall, like a divine sentence. You are sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. A collective release sweeps the room. Some cry. Others smile, relieved. The monster will never walk free again. You might say the police took their time catching him. But during all the years Sean was hunting in Louisiana, there were twists and setbacks in the investigation. For 10 years, Sean Vincent Gillis killed without being caught. For 10 years, he prowled the streets of Baton Rouge, hunting his prey, massacring them in absolute silence. So how could such a monster act for so long without being stopped? The answer is complex, a strange mix of coincidences, errors, and the lack of technology at the time. This cocktail kept Gillis invisible. And the most terrifying part, he was never even considered a suspect until the very end. Meanwhile, in 2003, while Baton Rouge police are on high alert, another serial killer terrorizes the city. His name? Derek Todd Lee. He also hunts women. He rapes. He kills. And when he's finally caught in May 2003, the investigators think the nightmare is over. What they don't know is that another monster is still out there. Sean Vincent Gillis, a killer even more sadistic, even more perverse, who leaves almost no trace. Gillis's crimes were so different from Lee's that the investigators never thought of a second serial killer. And that mistake bought Gillis precious time. On top of that, what threw the police off even more was that Sean Vincent Gillis didn't target college students or women from influential families. He hunted the vulnerable. Women alone, some homeless, others struggling with addiction. Like Lillian Robinson, Johnny Mae Williams, Marilyn Nevels, 38 years old. They vanished quietly. No family pressing the police for answers. No one to connect the dots. When their bodies were found, the police thought of gang violence, random crimes, not the work of a serial killer. Meanwhile, Sean Vincent Gillis continued to roam free. And Gillis, he was no amateur. Unlike Derek Todd Lee, who took risks, Gillis moved like a ghost. He hunted at night. He chose isolated victims, women who willingly got into his car, never suspecting a thing. No witnesses, no noise. And the biggest advantage? No serious criminal record. Nothing to raise a red flag. For years, Sean Vincent Gillis stayed under the radar. And let's not forget, back in the 90s and early 2000s, DNA databases weren't what they are today. Sean Vincent Gillis left traces of his DNA on some victims, but without an efficient system to match the samples, the police couldn't identify him right away. Sean Vincent Gillis is now behind bars. In prison, he writes letters, especially to Tammy Prepara, a friend of his last victim, Donna Bennett Johnston. Tammy hands those letters over to the prosecution. Some of Gillis's words make headlines. In his letters, he tries to explain himself. He claims he feels remorse for the murders, especially for mutilating the bodies, and describes himself as a pure evil being. He writes, period. She was so drunk, it only took a minute and a half. Honestly, her last words were, I can't breathe. And about the dismemberment, he says, I don't know why. There's something inside me that needs it. Sean Vincent speaks of remorse, of unanswered questions. He says he sometimes killed without even knowing why. But all his words reveal is the unfathomable horror of his mind. Sean Vincent Gillis is now locked away. He rots behind bars, trapped in a cold, endless cell. No escape, no more hunting, no more control. Just a hard bed, a flickering light, and his twisted thoughts looping endlessly in the dark. His name is forever carved into the dark history of America's most perverse serial killers. But the shadow of his crimes still lingers, because behind every name, behind every victim, there is a shattered life, a life no one will ever be able to fix. The fix. The fix. The fix. The fix.